The Ethiopian Empire, a towering civilization and eternal pride of Africa, the Ethiopian Empire, also known as Abyssinia, stands among the greatest and longest-lasting empires in African history and in the history of the world. Rooted in ancient times and extending its influence across centuries, this civilization became a symbol of culture, resilience, and African dignity. As one of the few African states to resist colonization and maintain sovereignty into the modern era, Ethiopia is not simply a country, it is a powerful symbol of African identity and continuity. The story of the Ethiopian Empire begins with the Kingdom of Aksum, which existed from the 1st century CE to the 10th century CE. Centered in what is now northern Ethiopia and Eritrea, Aksum was recognized as one of the 4 great powers of the ancient world, alongside Rome, Persia, and China. It developed a writing system, minted its own currency, and established trade networks that stretched from the Roman Empire to India. Aksum was also one of the earliest Christian civilizations in the world, officially adopting Christianity under King Ezana in the 4th century CE, long before most of Europe. The grandeur of Aksum is still visible today in its towering stele, grand palaces, and deep-rooted traditions, which form the spiritual and cultural foundations of the later Ethiopian Empire. After the decline of Aksum, the Zagwe dynasty rose to prominence between the 9th and 13th centuries. Based in the Lasta region, the Zagwe rulers continued the Christian legacy of Aksum and are best known for the rock-hewn churches of Lalibela. These remarkable structures were carved directly from stone and remain symbols of spiritual devotion and creative genius. King Lalibela envisioned a New Jerusalem in Ethiopia, and his legacy continues through the religious life and artistic heritage that still thrive there. The Zagwe dynasty emphasized religious unity, cultural revival, and architectural brilliance, connecting the legacy of Aksum to the next era of Ethiopian imperial history. In 1270, the Solomonic dynasty was founded by Emperor Yaqob, who claimed descent from the biblical King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. This narrative became a core part of Ethiopian identity and pride. The Solomonic dynasty ruled almost continuously until the 20th century, embodying a sacred form of kingship that united religion and governance. Under the Solomonic emperors, Ethiopia became a structured, feudal empire marked by territorial expansion, theological scholarship, monastic learning, and the preservation of Ge'ez literature. The church played a central role in Ethiopian life, producing a unique Christian tradition shaped by African, Jewish, and Eastern Orthodox influences. This era included several significant rulers. Emperor Amda Seyon expanded the empire's frontiers in the 14th century. Emperor Zara Yaqob, ruling in the 15th century, was known for his reforms and theological leadership. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Emperor Menelik too became a symbol of African independence and resistance. Ethiopia developed a rich literary tradition in Ge'ez, used in religious texts and court chronicles. Monasteries became centers of learning, art, and the preservation of knowledge. Ethiopian religious art, characterized by vivid iconography, intricate crosses, and illuminated manuscripts, remains among Africa's most treasured cultural heritages. Ethiopia's architectural achievements, including the castle complexes of Gondar, the churches of Lalibela, and fortified hilltop monasteries, reflect a civilization deeply connected to its faith, landscape, and intellectual pursuits. Perhaps the most inspiring chapter in Ethiopian history is its resistance to European colonization. In 1896, under Emperor Menelik II, Ethiopia achieved a decisive victory against Italian forces at the Battle of Adwa. This victory shocked Europe and inspired people across Africa and the diaspora. It showed that an African nation could stand against the imperial powers of the time and maintain its independence. Ethiopia's success in defending its sovereignty made it a symbol of hope and resistance. Ethiopia's last emperor, Haile Selassie, ruled from 1930 to 1974. He carried the Solomonic legacy into the modern era. As a reformer and statesman, he worked to modernize the military, education, and infrastructure. Internationally, he became a champion of African unity and played a leading role in the creation of the Organization of African Unity in Addis Ababa in 1963. Haile Selassie also became a global figure through the Rastafari movement, which saw him as a symbol of liberation and spiritual leadership. His speech to the League of Nations in 1936, following the Italian invasion, became a defining moment in the struggle against fascism and a powerful statement of African dignity. Although he was overthrown in 1974 by the Marxist Derg regime, Haile Selassie's legacy continues to influence African politics and culture. The Ethiopian Empire remains not only an ancient civilization but also a living testimony to African endurance, sovereignty, and innovation. Ethiopia preserved its identity through centuries of change. It blended faith and governance in a unique way, produced magnificent works of art, architecture, and literature, and became a guiding light in the struggle for African independence and unity. To study the Ethiopian Empire is to reconnect with a powerful chapter of African history, one where rulers led with wisdom, where spirituality guided statecraft, where art and scholarship flourished, and where freedom was defended with courage. For Africa and the world, the Ethiopian Empire remains a reference point. It reminds us that Africa has produced powerful civilizations rooted in discipline, creativity, spirituality, and strength. In a time when Africa's history has often been misrepresented, Ethiopia stands as a beacon of excellence, heritage, and resilience. Its story is not only to be remembered, but celebrated and taught as one of the greatest empires the world has ever known.